Had you ever wondered how hackers get into the most secure system in the world? Today we will unveil the secret behind penetration tests and why it's needable in any environment. With hands-on lab and demonstration, we will start our course. Stay with us and we will have more information about that. In our course, we will start using small devices and our own devices to start doing penetration tests. You don't need to have a huge server or big server to start doing that. Just a device such as a Raspberry Pi or your laptop. You will get more experience about it. My advice for any one of you to buy this device and multiple device. I have three. I will use the three, and also I will use my laptop and my small server. Why we need all of that? Because while we are working on the lab, we need multiple source, multiple destination to do the real test. My course, it's a real hands-on, not only theory. It will start with 16 episodes, but we will keep upgrading. I need your help on that. How you will help me? Just do the steps, follow the steps. For sure, you will have something different than what I will have. Depend about your system, about your knowledge, about your experience. We will learn a lot about Linux and Kali Linux. We will use a lot of tools to figure out what we have in our environment. That's what made me insist to have a lab and multiple device. In the beginning, we will have one Akali Linux and Raspberry Pi, which is attacker, and we will have two another device we use it for attack, and we will have Active Directory server, which will give us a lot of thing to try to find a gap in and vulnerability on it. We will create in one of these Raspberry a web application. We will try to find how the hackers find your vulnerability and the threats can use it against you. Again, I want your help in the comment what experience you have, what steps you followed, and you have any mistake on it or any error on it. I will help you on that one by one. I never mind. We will have a live session every 2 weeks. We will recap what we had in the previous 2 weeks. Now I will start explain how we will start. First of all, this device is something like $50 or more or less, depend about your country, if it's available or not. If you don't know from where you can buy it, just write in the comment. I will share with you a source to buy from it. In this comment, mention you are from which country. With this device, make sure that you will have a converter from normal HDMI to micro HDMI. You should have a power cable, USB cable Type C. There's a lot of converter from Type A to Type C, but nowadays nobody worry about Type C because it's available everywhere. In the beginning, you need to attach a keyboard and mouse. You will need SD card, mini SD card, so it will be as a storage for your device. Try to have it 32 GB at least. If you can have it 64, it will be better. 128 it will be the best. Try to find it with high speed and good quality because you will work a lot on it. So you will need. Now, if you have these parts, we can start in our lab. I will show you now from my machine how I will create the image. Stay with me, stay protected. Great, you are here. Now we will start with Imager, which is the application that we will use it to render the iOS from for the Raspberry Pi from official site from Raspberry Pi. We will write in Google Raspberry Pi Imager. Raspberry Pi Imager. I will write the link in the comment below. You will go to here. Download for Windows. It will be downloaded here. I already downloaded, so I will start it now. After we install it, you'll find it in the download. Just press yes. And you follow the steps. Install, blah, blah, blah. Then you press it. Yes. Choose the device, what you have it. I recommend Raspberry Pi 4 or 5. It depends about your budget. If you have good budget, then go with 5. If you don't have that much budget, 4 is doing well. Then you will choose operating system. In our scenario, we will use a different operating system than what it has. But you can use Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit, or you will go to Google again, Google for Kali Linux ARM. Kali Linux ARM. Then you will go to the website arm.kali.org, and then images. You will choose the right one and download it. I already downloaded. Oops, 1 second. We'll go here and press download. If it's 32, I recommend 64, which is better. After it's done, you will back to Raspberry Pi Imager, use custom, choose the location, open. Now choose the storage. You will know where is your storage. Next, here it's a good information you need to have it to make your life easier. Setting, you will put username or host name. If you want to put host name, it's fine, but we will do it later. Put the username and password, put your SSID and password. Then here you will press yes, and it will start rendering. This process usually takes between ignore that error because I already do it. Just make sure that you have the right extension, right file, and all will be good. This process will take 3 till 20 minutes maximum. It depends about your USB, your SD card speed, and your hard disk speed. We will wait until it's finished. Now I launched my Raspberry Pi. This is how the screen will be in the beginning. You will have different than what you show now, because it will be a first time for you to launching your Raspberry Pi. That's fine. Now we are ready to go. Put the username what you put it in the setup. Now your operating system is ready to go. Just I will show you the most needed command line. You need to do it in the beginning. From up there, go to root terminal eliminator or terminal. Right now I'm not using a mouse, so I will use it through my keyboard. You will put your password, you put it there. And these two steps, I will write it now. You need to do it. I advise you to do it every time you need to log into your system. That will give you update about your repository and your OS and tools as well. I will write these commands in the comment below, or on the screen. It will be better for you. apt-get update. Now we are updating our package. So keep in your mind, if you remember in your Windows, once you are trying to do anything upgrade or update, you will use admin privilege. Here in Linux, you will use sudo, sudo. That process it will take sometimes. It's depending again about your SD card, about internet, because this update it will take it from internet, and always good thing to have last updated. keep in your mind that in the first update, your wireless will be disconnected and connected again. It's normal because it's updating the drivers. Now all set. Now we still have one command, which is apt full upgrade -y, because it will give you warning. If you want to proceed, press yes. In this command, you will directly go and install. This one also it will take time. So once it's finished, I will back to you and we will complete working on that thing. Now all is set. Now we can start it. It's finished. It's restart. Just restart your Raspberry Pi, and we will do first step as enable XRTB, which is same RTB protocol. So we can log in remotely from our main machine, and we will do it remotely. It will reduce the time that we need to shift from device to the device. With me in the next episode that we will enable XRTB. I already explained it in another video, but with this course, this will be for the next session. Have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed in today's course, and please press like and subscribe so you will be the first one who know about the new episodes. See you. Now we will start with enabling XRTB. XRTB, which is the remote desktop protocol in Linux. I'm sorry for the resolution, but I couldn't find better way of taking video than this. From the next video, we will find a better resolution. So, for updating or installing XRTB, first of all, you will log in to the terminal. Try to always use sudo su. So in this way you can give order for Linux that to use admin privilege for now and go on. Just fix the focus and we will start now. apt update. As I told you before, once you open your system, just write this command. After that, you will ask the system apt install xrdb-y. As I told you before, any installation, it will take it from the cloud, so your internet is affected in this way. Now we will run this command system. Sorry. By the way, once you press tab, it will continue for the next command or the nearest command. ctl enable xrdb. Now again, system ctl start XREB. Now we will just confirm that RTB is run. System CTL status XRTB. Show us it's enabled. Now we can check it from our another device. So you need to know your IP address. To know your IP address, just you need to write ifconfig. Show you the details. Now, since I'm logged to wireless, my IP will be the schema, and you need to write down the IP so in the future you can know from where you can connect. Now, from my another device, which is here, I will open remote desktop. I will write the IP, what I have it. I will put the username. By the way, you can create another username. Let me know if you want to know how to open it, and I will give you instructor on it. It's connected, but I have issue with this PC of connecting another machine. But now it should be fine and ready to go. That's for our session today. Again, I will remind you to hit the bell button and subscribe with like and share if you never mind. Thank you very much. See you later.